and CMY gig. So as you can see, the printer is currently off. So we're going to go ahead and just make sure the electronics of the unit are on here. So to make sure the electronics are on, you want to make sure that this USB right here is plugged in. Okay. And you got the power cord, which is this. You want to make sure this stays plugged in for reliable operation of the unit. And then you want to make sure this other USB here, printer style USB, goes into the port, which we're actually going to open this up to do. See if I can get the camera focused in there. There we go. So now just make sure there's no ribbon cables. The ribbon cables themselves are okay. You just got to make sure that they don't get pinched in the actual lid. So all the electronics here should also be fine. Make sure that that cable here is plugged in. Make sure that the sensor here for the encoder wheel isn't scraping on either side. Let me see if I can get a little bit better of a angle on this here. Yeah, so you see how this isn't touching the sensor currently? You want to make sure that that is the case, and you can do that by adding any washers you need to in between the space on this bracket here. You see the screw, this Phillips head screw right here. You can actually put some M3 washers on the back side of this encoder sensor and get it to where you can still cut this post off and have the wheel align with the center of the sensor. So then we're just going to make sure, zoom in a little bit here, that overall, you know, the machine is in good shape. There's not ink just splattered on anything. And of course the ink bay should also be kept nice and tidy, unless you're not quite as OCD as me, but that's okay. Every once in a while you may just have to take these off. You can take them off and it'll automatically backfeed into the container because of gravity, but if you want to, you can take these off just by hand and cut the end with a pair of scissors, and then make sure it's a clean part before you heat it up, and then heat up the end and stick it back on here. And that makes it so that you don't have any expensive fittings to take off and clean. So we're just going to go ahead and take a look at the unit here again. So we've got the power light off currently, but we've got the electronics on. So what we're going to do is there's a red button on this board here. We're just going to go ahead and push that button. And as you'll see, the platen goes back into the machine and comes back out. So what that actually does is the homing at the end, and you don't have to worry about any noise at the end of that. That's just it reaching its max steps in the front. So there's an overview of the unit. And so it's been like that. And then also to point out, when you start up the unit, the ink reset switch is right here. You'll see why that's important here in a second. So we're going to go ahead and fire up the unit here. So as you can see, the unit is now starting up. And I did move the capping station, so it might be a little bit wonky here. No, that's okay. So I parked the capping station back in the correct position. If you get the capping station in the incorrect position, it'll make a really loud noise that you'll definitely be able to discern from the rest of the machine, because it's actually pretty quiet in operation. Then you just need to take and go back here in the unit. On the right side of the unit, if you're facing the front of it, there is a Phillips head screw right here. Let me see if I can get up better. There we go. So you can see it's been used quite a few times, but that is a jog screw that's accessible with a Phillips head screwdriver, and you can move that. I'll have a tutorial on that. You can use that to move the print head out of the way for operation of maintenance features. So there's again an overview of the unit. The electronics lid closed. I just have that lid still there to keep from dust particles and stuff flying into the unit. So yeah, this is the printer here. It's got a pretty sturdy base on it, and it is attached with a screw on each side. to hold it into place and keep it from just bouncing out while it's printing.